Oh, hey, warning, disturbing content.
Oh, wait, no, there's no disturbing content.
I didn't know that.
Disturbing content's gone.
Oh. Disturbing. Yeah, children really are disturbing.
Children are not disturbing.
Your game window's missized.
I fixed it. Unless it's still missized. Okay. There we go. Ready?
Nope.
Well, too bad. You're talking.
Sarah, the video tells me that you've left the window open in her room quite open all day long.
Did I? I don't think that I did. But it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, Miss Minchin. It was an accident.
Have you no thought for the weather? If it begins to rain, many of her belongings could be damaged, you stupid girl.
That's a good way to start the stream. Being told we're stupid.
With class disparity. Eat the rich.
You don't know that you are saying these things to a princess, that if I choose I could wave my hand and order you to execution.
Wow, that's dark.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'd better go and check that all the other windows are closed properly.
You know, she just, like, made a mental death threat.
She did! Oh, good! I only spare you because I am a princess and you are a poor, stupid, unkind, vulgar old thing and you don't know any better. Whoa!
Do the devs realize how wholly unlikable Sarah is? Like, I actually can't stand her.
Oh my gosh! Okay. Please excuse me, cook. A princess must be polite.
After all that bitchery? Shit, I didn't know that was polite.
But that was all in her head.
Sarah bobbed gently and walked out of the room. That girl! Just smile as if she hadn't even been scolded. Sometimes I cannot tell whether she hears me at all. It's as if she were living in another world where she's still a princess, but in fact she is a broke-ass bitch. Got more airs and graces than if she'd come from Buckingham Palace, that young one. She drops them about the kitchen as if it was nothing. It's not a natural way for a child who has lost her only parent to behave. She is a clever girl, and that is why she is useful, but it may also turn her sly. I won't have her plotting mischief. Keep her busy. If she is tired enough, she will have no time to put to ill purposes.
Okay.
I really feel like we're not supposed to be cheering for Miss Minchin there. But I kinda am.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're usually you're supposed to be cheering for the quote-unquote hero.
I don't like the quote-unquote hero.
But usually the quote-unquote hero doesn't call people tired old vulgar.
Even when they do, it's a little bit more deserved usually.
Yeah.
Instead, Sarah's just being a bitch. She's making death threats and then acting as if she's better than her. Like, yeah, you should have poise and grace or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you're better than anyone else.
Yeah. It. I
Like, being refined and polite doesn't make you better than this old lady if you're also making death threats and imagining killing her. And the only reason you will spare her is because you think you're better.
You're not wrong.
On this day, the clouds were scattered and the cobblestones dry, but the wind seeped through every tattered seam in Sarah's worn black dress, and I enjoyed every second of her chilliness and misery. There was some relief, at least, in walking with a purpose. The air was no less cold, but it was not so bitterly felt.
The wind will be even colder in the weeks ahead. This old dress more threadbare. But what can I do? What should I do?
By the way, your title for this stream just makes me think of Tum Nook.
I mean, we don't.
Whatever her task might be, Sarah's heart was always lightened by the appearance of a familiar face, even if that face did not quite belong to a friend.
Good day, Mariette.
Why are you here? I know the business of the seminary. I do not believe your errands so often take you to this street.
I was hoping to see you, to speak with you.
You should not.
I want to ask for your advice.
I have none.
You left. You left the inn where you worked. You said so. How did you do it?
It is not your concern.
I'm sorry, but I do think that it is. I might need to know. I know that there are worse things to be than a maid of all work. I have a place to sleep and Miss Minchin feeds me most of the time.
Miss Minchin is never going to ask you to become a sex worker for your keep.
I am not a beggar, and I do not wish to become one.
Even as the sheltered daughter of privileged Sarah Crew had once been, she had seen beggar children crouching in cracks between buildings and understood that not all would live to grow up. Now that she was herself only another poor face in the crowd, she had seen the daily suffering of the people in the streets more closely, had stepped over bodies made insensible by drink and ill health. There was no question that it was worse than she suffered at the hands of Miss Minchin.
If I ran away, if she carried out her threats to turn me out for disobedience, how could I survive?
Mariette was the only one who might hold the answers. If you do not wish to become a beggar, then stay where you are. There is nothing I can do for you.
I only wish to know.
I cannot help you. I cannot feed you. I cannot find you another position. And I cannot tell you when the risk of death is better than the risk of staying. I am not your mother or your friend. You were once my mistress. Now you are nothing. I take care of myself alone. She changed the position of her bundles and winced as the box brushed against one arm.
Mariette, are you hurt?
It is not your concern.
What position did you find? Where are you working now?
It is not your concern. Why must you always be such a... Sarah's chest clenched. She remembered, in that moment, how many times she had asked questions of Mariette, and how many times Mariette had tried to deflect them, gently or otherwise.
I never realized. I thought she was being polite. I thought we both were.
She's being polite because it's her fucking job.
I never recognized how much she disliked my prying. I'm sorry.
Mariette pressed her lips together tightly. Help yourself if you can. Do not seek me out again. She left, and Sarah did not follow.
I want to help you, and Becky, and myself, and everyone. I thought life was so beautiful, so full of wonderful, magical things. Was the life I had only a brief, happy accident? For everyone else, will it never get better?
New week. One afternoon, there came a familiar tapping at Sarah's door. She knew by the sound that it was Becky, who apparently shares this room, but has to tap at Sarah's door, which is Sarah's door for some reason.
Well, I know that they said that, and then, like, the first time that Becky came in, it made it seem like they didn't share rooms?
They're supposed to be in this attic together.
Maybe there's two halves of the attic.
Separated by a whole door.
Maybe.
You know what I think it is that when Sarah got put into the attic, Becky just felt forced out and had to find somewhere else to sleep.
That's also very true.
Sarah probably didn't even think of it. But Becky was too excited to wait for a response and burst into the room only moments after knocking. Can we see it from your window?
See what?
There's a van and horses and men with furniture.
Do you mean the house next door?
Together they scrambled up onto Sarah's thin mattress and craned their heads to see the road outside. Sarah could just make out men in shirt sleeves carrying heavy packages and furniture, though she could not see the entrance that they walked through. Still, there was only one house she knew to be vacant so close.
It's taken. It's really taken. Oh, I do hope a nice head will look out the attic window. A dead one?
Oh, I do hope a disembodied head will look out the attic window and scare the shit out of her.
Sorry, Halloween was a week ago.
Wish we could go down and see up close, but Cook would have our backs for Headland.
Oh, Becky, look, look.
Glimpsed for a moment were items that made Sarah's heart give a quick beat of recognition. There was a beautiful table of elaborately wrought teakwood, and some chairs, and a screen covered with rich oriental embroidery. And a menu screen.
And a menu screen! Whoops. They look so much like the things I used to see when I lived in India with my papa. Do you remember my carved teakwood desk, Becky? Miss Minchin took it away to be sold.
Don't know what's teakwood, miss, but I know you had a pretty desk.
Sometimes it's hard to remember from here. What it was like in India. It is like a dream slipping from my fingers.
Your cold, dead imperialist fingers?
Look now, there are patterned rugs. I thought I might never see such things again. Yes.
Miss, an idol! The workers now had a Buddha in us. Blended shrine.
Someone in the family must have been in India. They have got used to Indian things and liked having them around. Or they are Buddhist?
You know, my impression from this is purely that Sarah is a racist, cultural appropriating imperialist. And this does not increase my sympathy for her in the least.
I'm glad. I shall feel as if they were friends, even if the head never looks out the attic window.
Becky's mind was still caught by the sight of the Buddha. And me then living next door, kneeling down and praying a golden stone.
Oh my gosh.
Reckon somebody ought to send her a tract. You can get a tract for a penny.
Tract?
Sarah laughed a little.
Oh my gosh. I don't believe they worship that idol. Some people like to keep them to look at because they're interesting. My papa had a beautiful one, and he'd not worship it.
How is this better than a nap? This is not better than a nap. Nap is much, much better than a game.
Ain't no rest for the wicked.
Heathens, don't you think, miss? Never lived next door to no heathens. I should like to see what sort of ways they'd have.
Now I'm just getting flashbacks to, like, high school.
Anyway, hail Satan and drink coffee.
People aren't so different, really, when you look at them closely enough. I'm sure we'll find out more about our new neighbors soon. They're only just next door, after all. We need more pain.
Oh yes, I would love to inflict pain upon Sarah.
Pain was the hard one to get.
Pain was the one where everything kind of gives it, right?
Except for running errands. Running errands does not give pain. What?
Kitchen.
Hunger, which we still need some of. Fatigue, pain, and pride.
Let's wash clothes. What gives the most pain?
All of them give one. All of them have one option for one.
What gives pain and sorrow?
Which one's sorrow again? Sorrow's that one.
Snowball
Dust and
effect.
polish has option for pain and sorrow. 10 fires have options for pain and sorrow.
I don't want to make this bitch any more proud than she already is.
Wash clothes has options for pain and sorrow.
Is there pain and chill? I guess that one's pain and chill.
Yeah, that's pain and chill with some sorrow. That has some chill.
I guess change that last kitchen duty to wash clothes, maybe.
And just do it this way. Let me actually stream 7. What? Gosh dang it!
You're really lagged and like doing crazy shit today.
I'm always doing crazy things because I'm a crazy person.
Right.
So any other changes, do you think?
Quit this game and play something different.
Hunger. Hunger and pride. Sorrow and pride.
Okay, we're re-rolling.
Sorrow and pride.
We're definitely re-rolling.
Sorrow and pride.
Fine. We have so much pride already, and this bitch is already too proud as is.
Fatigue and pain. Hunger and pride. Sorrow and pride.
She just really wants to be
Sorrow and
fuck.
pride. How?
I'm so tired of this little girl who's so proud of herself for literally nothing.
Okay.
Like, she's not even proud because of any particular thing that she did. She's just proud because she was born rich.
I mean, isn't that normal for
Not
rich
a
people?
thing to be proud of.
Yeah, but aren't rich people normally proud that they're born rich?
I'm gonna drink more wine.
So how do you like this one?
Yeah, this is about as good as we can hope for. She's really fatigued. I guess it maxes out at 20 probably, because 16 is almost a max.
Yeah.
Sarah was in the schoolroom with her small pupils. Having finished giving them their lessons, she was now gathering the French exercise books together. As she did so, she thought, as she often did, about the various things that royal personages in disguise had found themselves forced to do, except you're not royal in your disguise. This is your reality. Alfred the Great, for example, had wandered England like a peasant to hide from the invading Danes, begging for food in exchange for chores. Once he had been promised cakes by a farm wife if he would watch the stove while she herded the cows, but he was distracted thinking about his problems, and the cakes burned. The farm wife boxed his ears.
She had no idea that he was anything but a poor beggar. How frightened she must have been when she learned what she had done.
So let me get this straight. She's idolizing a royal who had to hide as a poor person, but then fucked up the chore he was being paid to do.
Yes.
And thinks it's funny
Yes.
that he would be able to exact his revenge on the random farm wife whose job he didn't complete after
Yes.
agreeing to do it.
Yes. Didn't last time she say something about idolizing Marie Antoinette?
I need more wine. And I need this girl to get the fuck over herself. If you're incompetent, you're just incompetent. It doesn't matter how good your status is. You're still an incompetent asshole. Sarah saw Miss Minchin enter the room to check on the progress of the older students. She lowered her gaze and smiled to herself, thinking of how she too dreamed of being a royal who would then destroy her enemies who hadn't actually done anything wrong because she's the one who failed her duties.
Imagine if she would find out that I, Sarah, with my toes almost sticking out of my worn old shoes, am truly a princess.
You're not. She did not realize how this expression might look to the older woman like a sly little smirk. You! All at once, Miss Minchin flew at Sarah, pinching her ear and giving it a shake. It was so very like the way that Alfred's ears had been boxed that Sarah, startled out of her dreams, could not help but give a little laugh. It was not planned, but it simply burst out of her. Am I supposed to feel sympathetic to her delusions of grandeur? Because I don't.
I can't help but face palms.
In fact, it's kind of narcissistic. What are you laughing at, you bold, impudent child? few seconds to control herself sufficiently to remember that she was not a princess.
I was thinking.
Beg my pardon at once? Sarah hesitated a second before she replied.
I will beg your pardon for laughing if it was rude, but I won't beg your pardon for thinking.
You should beg pardon for what you were thinking. What were you thinking? How dare you think? That exclamation caused a wave of quiet titters among the older students.
Look at Sarah, she's not even frightened.
She's about to say something queer, I'm sure of it. Yes, Sarah?
This hurts.
Can we just, speed through the rest of this route? Because honestly, I'm so fucking shit.
Let's go. I'm just gonna go. Should I voice this line? I don't know if I want to. I'm just gonna...
You have to.
I was thinking that you did not know what you were doing.
That I did not know what I was doing?
I was thinking about what would happen if I were a princess. What I should do to you. Oh my gosh! I was thinking that if I were one, you would never dare to do it, whatever I said or did. I was thinking how surprised and frightened you would be if you suddenly found out that I really was a princess and could do anything I liked. Oh my gosh.
The pair of eyes in the room widened to its full limit. Lavinia leaned forward on her seat to look at the evisceration that Sarah's about to receive. Miss Minchin's hand flashed, and Sarah's cheek glowed red, and I have never been so... Go to your room this instant! Leave the schoolroom! And you young ladies, attend to your lessons! Sarah made a little bow, because she still has delusions of grandeur.
This girl has no filter. Also, hi, Melik.
Hi, Melik. I think you're supposed to like her more than I do. Much more.
See, I could give excuses for her at the beginning. And at the beginning, I mean...
Which beginning?
What?
Which beginning?
The beginning of the game. I could make excuses for her at the beginning of the game, but at this point,
At this point, she is delusional. She has delusions of grandeur and power that she does not actually possess, and she has fooled herself into thinking that they are real and that she can in fact do whatever she wants when her life is dependent on this woman's generosity. Like it or not, this woman is being generous to her because she has no actual obligation to keep this child. She could dump her out on the streets. She would be within her every right. And if she doesn't, I don't care what Sarah says about how Miss Minchin is not generous, not kind, blah, blah, blah. She is being incredibly kind because I would not house an insolent little child who cannot keep her mouth shut talking down to me in front of my students.
Yeah.
There is literally no excuse. I cannot stand this girl. I want to hurry up and be done with this game.
Excuse me for laughing if it was impolite.
And she walked out of the room, leaving Miss Minchin struggling for words. Did you see that? How very odd she looked. Her eyes were glittering like a wild beast.
I shouldn't be surprised at all if she did turn out to be something. Suppose she should.
I really hope she doesn't.
Well, skip.
At least we get to keep working on our stats. It was not Sarah. It was Sarah, not Becky, who first caught sight of the man who had purchased the house next door. The day was wet with the unpleasant aftermath of the wrong amount of rain. Enough to turn dirt to mud and trash to sludge, but not enough to wash the street stones clean.
It's 35 weeks?
I think it's 34. Let me check. No, 38.
Okay.
Yep. Sarah had to be careful to mind her steps, or else she might wind up falling into filth, as she deserves. As she picked her way back to the seminary, she saw a carriage pull up and stop before the newly occupied house. One at a time, the entourage unfurled. First a footman, then a gentleman who Sarah thought she had seen around London before. Next, a nurse in uniform, and then two large manservants coming around to assist their master. Not the familiar gentleman, but a man with a haggard, distressed face, and a skeletal body wrapped in furs. He was carried up the steps, and the other gentleman followed behind him, looking anxious. Don't tell me that's her dad.
No.
Or someone else who's going to magically uplift her out of poverty.
Possible.
I assume the latter. I really don't want it. She hasn't done anything to deserve anything.
But if
Sarah
she's...
could not safely linger any longer to watch. The last thing she saw before heading back into Miss Minchin's seminary was the arrival of a doctor's carriage.
But if she's rich, she could do anything.
No, she's not even dreaming that she's rich. She's imagining that she's a princess with the power to execute her benefactor.
Yeah.
Inside, Becky caught her to share the gossip. I heard the gentleman next door is yellow, miss. Could he be Chinese and not from India? Or Chinese? Chinny?
No, he's not Chinese. He's very ill. I hope it ends better for him than it did for my papa.
Miss.
Please, I would rather be alone right now.
Yes, miss. Who I still speak to with honorifics, even though we're equals now. And you don't correct me, 'cause you don't consider yourself my equal.
But I would not rather be alone. I'd rather that my papa were here. Or even if I were back in my old rooms and Mariette were there.
I wish I had my papa, or at least a servant. She picked up Emily and ran a hand over the doll's hair.
You are all that I have.
She set the doll back on a chair and perched her own thin form on the red footstool, gazing into Emily's glassy eyes. One of Sarah's supposings was that Emily might be a kind of good witch who could protect her. Sometimes, after she had stared at her until she was wrought up to the highest pitch of fancifulness, she would ask her questions and find herself almost believing that Emily might answer. But Emily never did.
Well, I don't answer people who speak to me very often either. I never answer when I can help it. When people are insulting you, there is nothing so good as not to say a word, just to look at them and think. Miss Minchin turns pale when I do it, and the girls look frightened. When you will not fly into a passion, people know that you are stronger than they are, and they say stupid things they wish they hadn't said afterward. It's a good thing not to answer your enemies. Perhaps Emily is more like me than I am like myself. Perhaps should rather not answer her friends either. She keeps it all in her heart.
But though she tried to satisfy herself with these arguments, she did not find it easy.
I...
Was there anything that did pain and sorrow together?
No.
But
No. It's either pain or sorrow. Not both.
Should we switch one back to kitchen duty or? Plenty fatigued.
We are plenty fatigued. And is next week Pride or Pain? I forget which.
I believe it was Pride.
Which good. We have plenty of flippin' Pride to go around. Yeah, let's switch this one to kitchen duty to get the hunger up.
Mm-hmm. Great. More pride.
And more fatigue.
Well, at least she's starving.
And sorrowful.
If we don't get any pain, we're restarting.
We're restarting.
Yep. And she's prideful. And she's in pain. More pain.
So when's Long Live the Queen, when we actually play a princess?
I don't know. Does that count as a dating sim for us to play? I've seen mixed things.
I mean, I honestly don't know.
Hey, we're almost maxed on fatigue, it looks like.
I only know the base gameplay of Long Live the Queen. I don't know how it ends. Or if there's any, like, datings.
Is that good enough? I don't know if that was really good enough.
Are we gonna get nitpicky?
Well, because we got 1 hunger, like 2 pain.
But, like, we don't...
One.
We could continue working on them the next time after we use up the pride.
True. When Sarah stumbled up to the attic that slim legs shook with exhaustion, she could not even reach the comfort of the red footstool before her knees gave out. It had been a terrible day. I'm going to read as fast as possible because I want to be done. She had been sent out in the cold time and again, no one choosing to remember the chills and that she was not strong and that her small body might be chilled and fragile. Cook's words had been vulgar and insolent. How do you be insolent to someone who has no power? Yeah. How do you be insolent to someone who has no power over you?
I don't know.
Girls had sneered amongst themselves at Sarah's shabbiness.
Oh, Emily. Some men laughed at me because my old shoes made me slip down in the mud. I'm covered with mud now, and they laughed. And because I could not find that thing, that last thing that Cook sent me for, they would not give me any supper. I'm so hungry. Can't you hear me, Emily? I'm hungry and I'm cold and I'm tired. Why won't you say something? Say anything. There's nobody but you to care for me. No one in all the world.
Because we don't consider Becky a real person, because we still think of her as only a little servant girl below us. She looked at the staring glass eyes and complacent face, and suddenly a sort of heartbroken rage seized her. She gonna break her own fucking doll. Lifted her little savage hand and with one sweep knocked Emily off the chair.
You are nothing but a doll. Nothing but a doll. Doll. You care for nothing. You are stuffed with sawdust. You never had a heart. Nothing could ever make you feel. You are a doll.
Sarah hid her face in her arms and burst into a passion of sobbing. Sarah, who almost never cried. Emily lay on the floor with her legs ignominiously doubled up over her head. Her face remained calm, even dignified. Sarah's sobs gradually quieted themselves. After a while, she raised her face and looked at Emily, seemed from this angle to be gazing at her with a kind of glassy-eyed sympathy.
Oh, Emily, you can't help being a doll. Not any more than Ermengarde can help being plump, or Lavinia and Jessie can help not having any sense. We are not all made alike.
So she just called her friend fat,
Yes.
and Jessie, who was improving without the influence of Lavinia, dumb.
Yes.
I continuously have such little sympathy. Sarah picked up Emily and kissed her, then shook her clothes straight and put her back upon her chair.
Perhaps you do your sawdust best. I must do my best as well. 5 card.
Here now, wash it with that basin. Leave it in the middle of the floor like that, you're like to trip someone, and it'll be your ears.
If you please, ma'am.
Becky nudged her in a quick reminder that Cook didn't appreciate that address.
Cook, it's too heavy to lift up to the sinks to empty it.
Take it outside and tip it then. Sarah looked down at the large wooden basin, its liquid contents sloshing with deceptive sound. She took hold of one of the side handles and leaned backwards, pulling with all her might. Her thin arms trembled under the strain, but the basin shifted only slowly.
Lift with your knees!
Here, miss, let me help. Mind you don't spill a drop, or you'll both be polishing the floor all night. Between the two of them, they dragged the heavy burden outside.
Try not to get your feet when it goes over, or your toes will be soaked.
Sarah knew that Becky's shoes were in even worse repair than her own, even though she'd keep feeling sorry for herself. Yes, miss.
Heave.
The words she remembered from her ocean voyage. Sailors working together to accomplish hard tasks. Heave ho! Heave ho! She and Becky had been boys, Sarah thought. But then there was no guarantee that a sailor's life was any better than a scullery maid. Together they lifted, and the basin disgorged itself with a great splash. The two girls scrambled backwards to keep their feet clear of the wet. Sarah smiled at Becky with the shared pride at a difficult task that was originally just hers completed. From here they could see the house next door where the Indian gentleman had recently taken occupation. It's too early in the day to see in through the windows because the light would reflect, but that did not stop Sarah from sending well-wishing in her mind. And then, quite unexpectedly, someone climbed up the stairs from the servants' area in front of the house.
Mariette?
After that last meeting, Sarah had not expected she would see the front woman again. Not for a time.
What are you doing here? Are you making a delivery? Did you come to visit the Indian gentleman?
This time, however, she clamped down on her questions. Good afternoon, Miss Marriott. Becky was quick to place everyone else above herself. Bon après-midi. Sarah, Becky. Hello. She looked down at the overturned basin. I have recently accepted employment. My last position was very unsatisfactory, and this gentleman has just moved to London and required a staff.
I was right before. Something was wrong wherever she was working, but that's over now. I'm glad you found somewhere that you will be happier.
Did you meet the Indian man, the one that owns... Did you see the idols? Monsieur Carrisford is not Indian, he is English. Only his manservant is Indian. Because we are still very imperialist. I have not spoken with Monsieur. He is not well, but he seems kind and no trouble. She looked up at Sarah, then looked away. It was evident that she was bothered by something. Sarah could not understand her distress and did not dare to ask.
I'm sure he feels very lucky to have you looking after his needs.
I pray that he recovers soon and that this position does not end as mine did with you.
Yes, of course. I hope so too. Oh
But
my
what about
gosh.
the idol? Do they pray to it? Do they make you touch it? Do they make sacrifices?
Becky.
Something of Mariette's old composure resurfaced in her smile. It is a pretty piece of furniture, slightly challenging to dust. I wouldn't dare. Sarah giggled at her wide-eyed expression.
We'd better get back inside before Cook misses us. Now that we are neighbors, perhaps we'll see you again, Mariette.
Perhaps it is so. Sarah lay in her little bed. The skylight covered her with the gray light of morning. There was no warmth in it. No warmth either in the unlit fire, and very little to be found in the old blanket.
Perhaps I will freeze in place some night lying here, like Snow White in her crystal coffin. But what prince would find me here, alone in an attic, to wake me from my slumber? I would not even have dwarves to tend me.
Wow, what a misremembering of Snow White.
That is a huge misremembering of Snow White.
Snow White had to do chores and was grateful for a place to stay.
A prince did not also save Snow White, if I remember right.
What do you mean? Snow White, well, Disney Snow White at least gets woken up.
But the story Snow White, I think it's like the coffin gets jostled while they're moving it, and the apple like dislodges itself, and she wakes up. I could be wrong. Fairy tale princesses are often rescued by princes, but it is not so much the case for true princesses and queens.
Oh, there is a prince who stumbles upon Snow White lying in her glass coffin during a hunting trip, and is allowed to take Snow White to her proper resting place. And one of the prince's servants trips and loses his balance, which dislodges the piece of poisoned apple.
But it's not like the kiss that wakes her up.
Yeah, but it would still go to the prince for credit because the prince decided to take her.
Ugh.
We don't care about servants in this day.
Mary Queen of Scots had to ride her own horses and raise her own army for her escape.
Wow, having to do her own work. Oh.
She was very brave, but they caught her again, and in the end she was executed, just like Marie Antoinette. I think it was very noble to be a queen who must carry on, even when she is sad or afraid. More noble than a princess who sleeps and waits to be saved. I have to carry on. That means first I must rise from my bed.
Another day of work stretched before her, and no rescue in sight. Rescue yourself.
Save real quick, just in case. So. Why does everything get fatigue?
Because fatigue is something that Sarah should always be. So much so that there's the thingy that converts chill into fatigue.
Gosh dang it.
Like, we have to just accept that we're gonna get some fatigue. Shall we tend fires to get that pride back up and pain? And
What should I
hunger and sorrow.
change that out?
No, you should make it the first two because we want to keep chill. And sorrow.
This also gives sorrow.
Yeah.
Ready?
What was wash clothes?
Chill, pain, fatigue, chill, and sorrow and
There
pride.
was more chill.
What?
Wasn't there one with more chill?
Yeah, running errands.
Can we do one of those instead of wash clothes?
Boop.
And what does wash clothes have that kitchen duty doesn't have besides chill?
Chill.
Hunger.
Kitchen duty has hunger, yes.
Kitchen duty instead of wash clothes.
Okay. Some sorrow.
Wow.
Some nothing.
Some safe scum. Kitchen duty, good. A little bit of hunger. I think we should redo that. I think we should redo it again. For sure. Because that's 2 whole wasted days. Well, I can finally hear the music a little. At least.
I don't know what changed that you would finally be hearing the music.
My volume?
Maybe?
I mean, I know I turned up my speakers at some point during the week, but it's also like if I turned it up by much more,
I'll hear an echo.
depending on what I'm watching or reading, or not watching or reading, watching or listening to, like the current volume would have it like blast.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to change the settings somewhere. I don't know. Let me see.
Okay. This might be no hunger, but we got pain.
I feel like that's still kind of better because at least we got pride, pain, and sorrow all to 10.
Yeah.
There were fine sunsets even in London sometimes, but most people could only see parts. Sorry. Most people could see only parts of them between the chimneys and over.
Don't joke.
Why not? Down in the kitchens, one could not see them at all, and I guess that they were happening because the bricks looked warmer, the air rosy or yellow for a while. From the bedrooms of the boarding students, they were slightly better. Perhaps one might see a blazing glow as it struck a pane of glass on a nearby window. But there was so much more to be seen. Piles of red or golden clouds in the west, or the purple ones edged with dazzling brightness, or the little fleecy floating ones tinged with rose color and looking like flights of pink doves scurrying across the blue in a great hurry if there was wind. There was one place from which a viewer could see the sunset skies in all their splendor. That place was, of course, the attic window. The square outside the seminary began to take on that enchanted glow. Sarah would, if possible, steal away and creep up the flights of stairs to her attic, to lean as far out of the window as she could. When she had accomplished this, she always drew a long breath. In the golden light of sunset, even the London air is pure.
This wonder is mine alone. It is the one joy of life in this attic, the one beauty that has been granted to me.
See, I think it's official. She kicked out Becky. No one else ever looked out of the other attics. Generally, the skylights were closed, but even if they were propped open to admit air, no one seemed to come in them. Sarah turned her face upward to the sky, which seemed so friendly and so near, like a lovely vaulted ceiling, and watched the colors change and flow. Sometimes the clouds made islands or great mountains, lakes deep turquoise blue or liquid amber, upraised green, sometimes dark headlands jutted into strange lost seas. The sparrows twittered softly around her, and Sarah felt for a moment almost as if she could float away into the sky. But in the end, at last, it was necessary to lower her head again.
Wait, what was that?
For a moment, she thought that she had seen a shape beyond the attic window in the house that the gentleman from India had taken.
Perhaps someone was there. Perhaps the window will open in ahead.
But there was no one.
Just a trick of the light. Really splendid sunsets always make me feel as if something strange was just going to happen. Perhaps someday it will. Well?
We get to skip 2 more weeks before we can spend 6 of our maxed out fatigue.
Yeet.
Sarah stood looking out at the sunset. There were floods of molten gold covering the west as if a glorious tide was sweeping over the world. A deep, rich yellow light filled the air, and birds flying across the tops of the houses showed quite black against it. Sarah sighed to herself as she craned her head upwards. All of a sudden, she heard a strange sound, not a sparrow's chirp, but a strange, low, squeaky chattering, and it came from the window of the next attic. Sarah turned, excited. Had someone come at last to watch the sunset as she did? There was a head visible, framed there in the skylight, but it was not the head of a little girl or a tired housemaid. In fact, it was the tufted head of a small black-faced monkey. It looks like a Pokemon. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Alright, I'm not wrong. I'm just so funny that...
You're so funny, you're killing me.
You're not allowed to die.
What is Chimchar doing here?
Is it a shiny?
I can't honestly remember what a shiny Chimchar looks like, so possibly.
I don't know, but that's not the default coloring of Chimchar.
No, it's not.
Let's find out.
I can't think of any of the other monkeys.
Shiny Chimchar is... Is the shiny Chimchar just red? I think it's just red.
It is totally possible.
The shiny Chimchar appears to just be the same, but instead of orange, it's red.
That's boring.
It's really boring.
Why is it so boring?
They know that blue fire is hotter than red.
Yeah, but the
line. Let's get on with this.
Oh.
Sarah is like catching a glimpse of a long friend passing nearby in a crowd. She had lived with her papa in India. She had played with just such creatures. She had not thought to see them again. She swung the skylight up, leaning out as far as she dared to get a better look.
You darling thing. How I wish you could come for a visit.
As if in answer, the monkey rapped its paw 3 times against the windowsill.
That's great, Malik. Find a shiny that looks like that monkey for us.
Uh-huh. By the way, Malik, I'm sorry that you just to hear me complain and complain and complain about this game.
Yeah. It's probably a nice distraction from the monotony that is shiny hunting, though. I have still never had a shiny, so...
I think I got my first shiny in Ruby when I was revisiting it for like the 5th or 6th time. I think I caught a shiny Trapinch.
Lucky?
In Pokemon Go, I once woke up and my apartment used to be on top of a Pokestop.
Right.
That, I think what was it? Pineco?
Uh-huh.
In that, I think.
Okay, yeah. See, I don't count shiny Gyarados because, like, that's story.
I mean, that one's required. I don't count them either.
Well, you can kill it, but you're always going to catch it.
No, it's required that you're going to come across it.
Yes. Little girl was rich and now is not rich.
Bitch who becomes poor but still acts like a rich bitch. Okay, we're done. Then all at once it hopped down into its own room away from the skylight and out of Sarah's view. Sarah waited, hoping that he might return, if only for a moment.
Oh, Whirlpool's so cute. I actually tried shiny hunting for an Eevee at one point, but I couldn't. I did not have the odds to get one.
For an Eevee?
Yeah! I wanted shiny Umbreon. Because I like the blue circle instead of the yellow one.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good color scheme.
So, like, I wanted to evolve it into an Umbreon, but I never had the luck to get it.
You having luck is like me having luck.
Yeah. I think that I hear him still chattering away. Perhaps he is swinging from shelf to shelf within their attic as if it were a jungle. No, I do hear something.
A voice was speaking in a low tone. Not a monkey, but a man.
Ah, yes, the monkey was speaking.
Well, she could hear a low-toned man from the attic all the way next door of these large, large houses from the attics with the windows closed. Both windows. And then to her surprise, someone appeared in that attic window. Someone with dark skin and brightly embroidered clothing.
A what?
Yes. I'm going to assume you do not read it as rhyming with NASCAR.
Yeah, but I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't have shiny sun and moon. Last one I have is X or Y. So.
I feel like I quit it in X and Y because sun and moon with the Alolas seemed.
I am really interested in getting Sword and Shield though at some point.
Maybe? I don't know. I haven't really looked enough into it.
They've been announcing a lot of changes to Sword and Shield that.
I mean, I also played like every single generation up until X and Y.
Same.
So I feel like that's me giving myself permission to stop.
Yeah. That's the same thing of I've played every generation up until X and Y, and it was kind of just like I think the last one I technically played was Omega Ruby, and I haven't beaten it yet.
I bought Omega Ruby in Japanese.
Of course you did.
Yeah, because that was when I was in Japan.
But yeah,
I don't remember how far I got in that.
I was actually like almost about to fight the Elite Four, and I never did.
Anyway.
Let's
hurry and be done with this game.
I don't know how to pronounce this.
We'll look it up.
Looks like Alaska. Alaska.
Does it rhyme with NASCAR?
I'm literally gonna play it so the stream's gonna hear it.
Lasker.
Yeah, it's actually Lasker.
I couldn't hear it.
Well, Melik's gonna hear it.
Alright, so I'm gonna unmute the stream real quick.
Well,
Too late.
Ugh.
Did you hear yourself?
Yes. Ugh. Oh.
Echo. I missed the actual thing though, so whatever.
Whatever. It's Lasker.
He held the monkey in his arms, where it snuggled and chirped against his breast. As Sarah looked toward him, he looked toward her.
Hello.
Sarah had learned for herself how comforting a smile, even a stranger, might be. Hers was evidently a pleasure to him. He smiled in return, and his whole face was illuminated. Do you have another man voice for him?
It's just gonna be my normal voice because I'm not.
That's not her dad.
Okay, I can't do an accent without being super flippin' racist, and I'm not doing
I'm not
that.
telling you to do an accent. I'm telling you to give him a... not my voice.
Not your voice?
My voice is much more high-pitched.
Hello, Miss. What?
I'm going to assume that says Sahib.
Sahib. He must have come up here for the sun since it's so seldom seen in England. So you are what Charon wished for me to see. The monkey brought you here?
Anyway, this game is super fucking racist.
What a delightful thought that an Indian monkey should bring an Indian man to be my friend. This little one brings me many places. He is forever running into trouble and expecting his tall friends to protect him.
The familiar cadences of his accent washed and how long it had been since she had heard such a voice.
Forgive me, Miss Sahib. I would open the window to greet you properly, but I feel Charon might try to make an escape. I would not wish to lose...
Charon or something.
What?
I'm gonna guess that might actually be Charon.
I would not wish to lose him. My friend, my master, is ill, and this creature's mischief provides him much amusement. Charon does not know England or its weather. He might come to harm. Of course, perhaps you will meet again.
Imperialist as fucking game.
Perhaps we will meet again on another sunset.
The sound of his quiet laughter did not pass through the closed window, but the flashing white of his teeth showed his amusement because they could have an entire conversation through the closed windows. For some reason, you can't hear a laugh.
Until another sunset, Miss Sahib.
He disappeared then. She thought it possible he might have bowed to her, but it was too difficult to tell through the skylight.
I wonder if he lives in an attic like me, or if he was only chasing a monkey. I did not know his rank in that household. I hope that England is kinder to him than it was to me.
You know his rank in the household because Mariette told you what it was.
She is not thinking because she's dumb.
Because all servants are...
Kitchen duty?
We should keep one that has sorrow. Well, no. Two that have sorrow, and then...
Do you want to
kitchen
do 210 fires, the rest kitchen duty?
Yeah, that seems fine.
What shiny are you looking for? Are you just looking for any shinies, Malik?
We're redoing this.
Yeah, I figured that was just why I was asking questions. So prideful!
Is that your chair making the squeaking sounds?
Probably.
Yeah, how are you doing this?
Actually, also, that's a lie. I have Pokemon Let's Go and I started that. I have Pokemon Let's Go and I started playing that at some point. Should get back to playing that.
Oh, you mean the Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee one?
I
I assume it's Eevee for you.
Yes, because I don't like Pikachu.
Don't know why not. It's cute.
Eevee's cuter!
So you're a hipster.
Oh, okay. How far did I get? I think I might have only beaten, like, Brock. So I'm not that much farther than you are, Malik.
Someday we'll gain sorrow.
I think I spent a long time in that forest because you can get Bulbasaurs there. And I wanted a Bulbasaur.
Someday we'll get sorrow.
Which is why it's fun to make some conversation while we wait to be sorrowful.
Make her sad. Finally!
Also, the Let's Go games are tried best to make shiny hunting easier. So,
Did they?
yeah. So basically,
Hey, this is like the perfect result. I'm so glad.
if you catch the same
How good that result was.
if you catch the same type of Pokemon multiple times in a row, it starts a chain, and the higher the chain, the more likely a shiny is to appear.
Wait, if you catch the same Pokemon?
Yes.
Over it?
So, like for Melic, if
You have to catch it before it counts?
yes. So if Melic catches like 10 Weedles in a row, the shiny spawn rate is higher for Weedles, I believe, so that like to make it easier to catch them. I'm seeing more Bulbasaur than Pikachu. I did not really see Pikachu's there, so but it makes it so that it's the same thing of like Pokemon Go, where like if you catch that, like you can catch, like it's easy to catch a bunch of the same Pokemon, and they're kind of telling you to catch like 1,000 of the same Pokemon. So
on principle, I refuse to read this line.
I don't blame
That is
you.
a racist slur, and I am not reading a slur against my own people. That's what Sarah said. Luckily for Becky, Cook was not in enough of a temper to clout her for calling Sarah Miss in her hearing. Suppose she'd know all about English gentlemen in that place. Tell you, you'd never get me there, not if I had to jump off a boat and swim home. Nothing good ever. Okay, I'm done. No wonder the children live long enough to be shipped back here, because we're also racist. Couldn't just be imperialist, we also had to be extra racist about it.
The chance of a shiny doesn't increase past 31. I'm at 133.
Holy fuck.
133 Weedles. Wow.
I respect your
Dedication, yeah.
I respect your dedication, and I'm glad you've joined us today.
Now I need to...
I mean, I'm glad in general that you're back. We missed you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think there's actually a few times where we're like, where's Melic?
I don't know if I ever said that on stream. I know I said it like before and or after.
Yeah. I mean, I think the same thing of like.
I refuse to read any more of this racism.
I don't blame you. If only Pop had let me stay there.
Anyhow, seems that fella'd gone and run himself in a hole. Thought he'd lost his old fortune, he did, and it drove him to wreck, thinking he was ruined forever. It's her fucking dad, isn't it? It's her fucking dad.
How? 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 How?
Aw, thanks, Malik.
I'm just gonna... Hearts.
Uh-huh. No savings of mine never goes into no mines, particular diamond ones. We all know something of them.
I mean, could it be the dad's partner?
No, because they're explicitly talking about how the guy is sick and how he nearly died and how they thought he had died.
Oh my gosh.
Her dad. It's like almost definitely her dad.
Oh.
And the partner has since been unheard from. The dad would have reason to come here because he would be looking for his little girl. Becky gulped and nodded.
He felt as my papa felt. He was ill, just like my papa. He did not die. Not yet. Poor man, I hope he will be well. Perhaps he's a child in England as well. For the sake of that child, I would help him any way I could. Or for his own sake, and the sake of my papa, whom I could not save.
If it's not her dad, it's gonna be someone that she charms for being just like whatever. Just because she's thinking of actually someone else.
Yes. Yes.
Sarah's growing sympathy for her neighbor added new policy. She might be sent on in the evenings. There's a chance that his curtains might not be drawn and she might be outside. That was the case if no one was about. She would stop and take a hold of the iron railings, looking into those warm rooms and wishing good thoughts to her adopted friend.
Perhaps kind thoughts reach people somehow, even through windows and doors and walls. Perhaps you feel a little warm and comforted and don't know why.
The man sat alone in an armchair by the fire near the great dressing gown, forehead resting in his hand as he gazed hopelessly into the fire.
He always seems as if he were thinking of something that worries him. He's got his money back, so he ought not to look like that. I wonder if there is something else. I hope you will get well and happy again. I am so sorry for you. I wish you had a little missus who could pet you as I used to pet Papa when he had a headache. I should like to be your little missus myself, poor man. Good night, and God bless you.
I should like to be your spoiled child. She would go away feeling quite comforted and a little warmer herself. Her sympathy was so strong that it seemed as if it must reach him somehow. On this day, although Sarah's viewpoint through the window did not allow her to see it, the man in the house was not alone. Can you do a sickly voice?
No, I can't. Sick is not in my repertoire of no voices.
I will attempt a sickly voice. Carmichael, I cannot believe that the wretched woman has disappeared without a trace.
Without the loss of her two best...
With.
What?
With, not without.
Oh. With the loss of her two best paying pupils in such a short time, Madame Pascal's finances were in great disarray. She apparently found it necessary to close her school entirely. It was something of a scandal in Paris, which turned out to our benefit. Without those rumors, we might not have found the child's trail so quickly.
But your sources have no idea what might have after that?
As the story goes, after her father's death left her unprovided for, she was then adopted. Taken in by the parents of the little girl who had so recently died at the same school. The two girls had been close companions before the accident, you see. After that, a child without parents and parents without a child, it seemed the best solution all around. So this family, who were extremely well-to-do Russians, took the child off her hands. And after that, Madame Pascal found herself in difficulty and absconded. I have not been able to contact her.
Okay, so it's not her dad, I guess.
It's someone who is...
God, but it is definitely setting up for him to adopt her.
Yes.
Have I mentioned I hate this game?
Yes.
And I think of all the dreadful things that could happen in this world to a child without protection.
If this is the child you are in search of, she would seem to be in the hands of people who could afford to take care of her.
But you say if the child was the one I am searching. You say if. We are not sure.
Without Madame Pascal's confirmation of the father's identity, we cannot be certain. Still, the circumstances were curiously similar. An English officer in India had placed his motherless little girl at the school. He died suddenly after losing his fortune. If you are certain that the child was left at a school in Paris, it seems most likely that she is the one.
My dear fellow, I am certain of nothing. I never saw the child or her mother. The mother was a Frenchwoman, and I had heard she wished her child to be educated in Paris. But I cannot know. Okay, so he's
Related?
a friend of the mom or something? But has expressly come here to adopt Sarah.
Yes.
Who doesn't really deserve it. Like, if you're gonna adopt anyone, can you please adopt Becky?
Yes.
As if drawn by the sound of raised voices, the Lascar, who Sarah had seen in the attic, entered, bringing a tea service with him.
Rest yourself, Sahib. You do no good if you are not well.
Didn't you give him a lower voice?
I don't remember.
Except for the cuppy guy. You are right as always, Ram. Ram? Is he literally just naming his servant Ram? Still, I must find the girl. If she is alive, she is somewhere. If she is friendless and penniless, it is through my fault. Is it the dad's? Why was I not man enough to stand my ground when things looked black? My poor Ralph put into the scheme every penny that he owned.
It
Trusted
is.
me. He loved me.
It is his dad's friend. Who left with all the money.
Uh-huh. And he died thinking I had ruined him. I, Tom Carrisford, who is at home closer than a brother to him. What a villain he must have thought me.
You are.
Ram Dass rested a comforting hand on his master's frail shoulder.
You were innocent. Your mind was not whole. You were not to blame.
Overwhelmed with despair and half delirious with fever, because I was weak. And then I ran away and collapsed in the jungle alone. Thought I wanted to die, and I know well that I nearly did. He looked up at Carmichael with self-deprecation. It's only thanks to Ram Dass that I was discovered and brought back to the hospital in time.
If you had no strength of heart, Sahib, you would not have survived those weeks of fever.
Mr. Carrisford reached up and clasped the other man's hand. You are too good to me. Mr. Carmichael harumphed gently, reminding them of his presence in the room. Are they gay lovers? Yes, well, when I returned to consciousness, poor crew was dead and buried, and my own mind was... I did not recall the child's existence for weeks. I have never been able to remember her name.
Surely he must have spoken of her to you. Anything he said about the school would be a clue. Without nothing more, with nothing more to go on, it will be difficult for me to tell if we have found the right girl. Unscrupulous people might not hesitate to provide a false heiress.
He used to call her by an odd pet name he had invented. Called her Little Mrs. Even though that's really not odd at all. But the wretched diamond mines drove everything else out of our head.
Well, don't despair. We shall find her yet. According to my Paris sources, the good-hearted Russians who left Madame Pascal's school were named Anisimov. They most likely lived in Moscow. I will go there and see what can be learned.
If I were able to travel, I would go with you. But I can only sit here wrapped in furs and stare at the fire. You're useless. Yeah, you are.
He's not wrong.
He's a useless colonialist imperialist. Fuck.
You are improving. If I travel to Moscow and that is not Ralph Crew's child, I will return. By then, I am sure you will be able to move on to Paris with me to continue the search. Have faith.
Harris Ford shook his head. When I look into the fire, I seem to see Crew's gay young face gazing back at me. Very gay. Waiting for me to reassure him, and I cannot answer.
Are they gay as Jesse?
For someone else.
Gay as Jesse?
If only we had never parted, or never reunited.
Is that truly what you wish, Saib? That you had stayed together?
No. No, of course, not my gay new lover. I do not suffer my old gay lover. It would have come to the same time if we had traveled to France together as we planned. And yet, better by far that I had never found him again, and to know that it was I who brought him to ruin. I must not fail him now, whatever the cost. I must go to sleep now. Good night. Are we fine with this set?
I am totally fine with this set.
Great.
Very painful.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez! Jeez!
You know, I'm tempted to keep that.
I
don't
would
get pain that often.
Yeah, no, that's what let's just keep it.
Just keep it. Sarah sat upon her hard haddock bed, looking down at her feet, which were red and throbbing. Emily, as always, smiled absently on the proceedings. She was sitting up quite straight today, and Sarah had bumped against her chair and not yet taken the time to right her.
It has been hard to be a princess today, Emily. It has been harder than usual. It gets harder as the weather grows colder and the streets get more sloppy. When Lavinia laughed at my muddy skirt as I passed her in the hall, I thought of something horrible to say all in a flash, and I only just stopped myself in time. I can't sneer back at people like that, if you are a princess.
Actually, you can't sneer back at people like that when they have more power than you.
But you have to bite your tongue to hold yourself in. I bit mine.
Her knees up to her chest, wrapping her arms around her legs.
It was a cold afternoon, Emily, and it will be a colder night.
Quite suddenly, she put her dark head against her.
It could snow next week, and I'm excited. Oh, Papa, what a long time it seems since I was your little missus.
It's 51 outside right now. I'm excited.
That's not. It's 39 here.
You want to trade?
Can you come visit?
No, I can't.
Aww.
There was no answer. After a few moments, she lifted her head again, smiling as bravely as a soldier.
The sun is setting, Emily. We mustn't waste it. I never guessed how short the days in England could be in winter. I must bid a good night to the sun so that it does not decide to leave us completely. Sun might be more comfortable in India, but we need it here.
With that bit of self-encouragement, she managed to climb to her feet and raise the skylight to let the sun in. No sooner had she swung up the window than a bundle of fur blurred through the opening, alighting solidly on Sarah's shoulder without once pause before springing off again. It was the monkey, Tron.
Oh dear, he got loose.
He landed on her bed then and scampered towards her pillow, then swung himself around and into the darkness beneath the bed. Only the long curve of his tail still in sight.
Okay there, Chipchar.
Sarah looked quickly at the door to her room to be sure that it was closed. Miss Minchin would be furious at such a creature running her school. What was she to do with him? Helpless, she stuck her head back out of the skylight and found the concerned face of the Lascar there opposite.
Miss Saib, have you seen... Oh, sir. Sharon has come through my window. Should I try to catch him for you? He's hiding under my bed.
It was an angry chittering. She looked down to see that the monkey was now running across the floor towards the gate. Great.
Miss Saib, it would not be wise. He's a good monkey and will not bite unless one pulls at his tail, but he's very difficult to catch. He flies like the lightning when he wishes. He does not know you, and I do not think he will allow you to catch him. Even myself, he obeys only when he chooses. But he is not wicked, only playful. I believe that I might be able to coax him if it is allowed that I enter. He is very polite. He must be concerned that I will think it a great liberty for a strange man to enter my rooms, as if they were truly mine.
Like you keep dreaming that they are. Like the grand hostess, she spread an encompassing arm.
If you can cross the rooftop safely, then enter and be welcome on your quest. Sharon is running from side to side of the room now. I don't think he's happy here.
The rooftops of London were a treacherous terrain of loose, damp tiles, slanting surfaces, and terrifying drops. Only the direst of threats could ever come Sarah out of her window. The last car, however, slipped across and through as easily as if he had been walking the roofs all his life. He landed on Sarah's little bed with scarcely a sound, and then to the floor where he bowed his head at her. It was the first time she had seen him so clearly. The color in the fabric of the tire still evoked that painful half-familiarity of her lost memories. The man himself was unusual. His bow had been as deep and polite as any Indian servant's, but he was still fucking imperialist. But he moved as lightly as a magician and stood with the strong shoulders of a soldier. His eyes and his smile were warm and enigmatic, and the knife on his belt he wore with confidence.
Oh, he's like a character in a fairy tale, the brave wanderer who will surpass all the witch's challenges.
For that reason, he remained fixed in Sarah's mind as the Lascar, and it did not occur to her to ask his name, or to provide her own.
Thank you for your hospitality, Miss Saib.
His eyes swept the room, and Sarah felt a sudden urge of shame.
Everything here is dirty and ragged, including me. I'm no longer fit to be called Saib.
But if he had such thoughts, he did not voice them.
Now for this little one.
It was not a very long chase. The monkey prolonged it a few minutes, evidently for the mere fun of it, but presently he sprang chattering onto the man's shoulder.
You see, he is hard to catch when he is running, but when he wishes, he will come to a friend. He is like a child to me, and my master. Many thanks, Miss Saib, for your aid. Perhaps if you meet again, Sharon will know you as a friend. I hope so.
He did not presume to stay long within her rooms, but summoned again and made a swift. It gave Sarah a wistful sort of pain to recall that she, the drudge whom the cook had insulted an hour ago, had once been surrounded by people who salaamed just so whenever she went by.
What a kind man. He could not help but see how shabby this room of mine is, but he still spoke to me as if I were someone important and valuable.
She walked around her room, setting Emily back in place upon her chair and writing any other objects destroyed by the monkey's passage.
If only we, all of us, could go back to India together. Okay.
I think we should stop after this.
Okay.
And then I'm going to make a drinking game. How racist.
Don't get drunk on stream.
I'm only a little bit tipsy. Because I realized I was starting to get tipsy and stopped.
Be a good influence.
Huh?
Be a good influence.
Isn't that your job? Aren't you my foil here?
Aluminum?
Sarah! What is that girl?
I'm here, Miss Minchin.
This carpet is unsightly. Take it outside and beat it clean.
Yes, Miss Minchin.
Beating a carpet sounded to Sarah's ears like a simple task, one that might even be time for entertaining fancy. The beater, a complicated shape of twisted cane, was like a long wand that a giant sorceress might wave, or a weapon in the hand of a resourceful young hero. Practical difficulties made themselves obvious as soon as Sarah attempted to get through the front door with the beater in a room much larger than she was. She dragged the carpet free of the door, but could not see how to hold it up and beat it at the same time. She could leave it rolled and draped over her shoulder, but then she could not effectively strike it, and if she were not very careful, the would become dirtier.
I should go back and try to find Becky. She must know what to do. Miss Minchin will be cross if she sees me bringing the dirty carpet back indoors, but I not see what else I can do.
Salvation come from an unexpected angle. With a disapproving tisk of her tongue, Mariette lifted an end of the carpet roll. You are wasting your time. You'll only injure yourself. Carry it out back. There is a rope. Hang the carpet over that. Then swing, and swing hard, or you will be at it all day.
Thank you, Mariette. Merci beaucoup.
I shouldn't have said anything. It isn't my business.
Well, I appreciate that you did.
After they lifted the carpet onto the old clothesline, Sarah expected Mariette to make a swift exit, but it appeared that something was still on her mind. I am likely to be leaving in a few weeks.
Oh, there's a problem with your new position?
Sarah bit her lip, uncertain how many questions she dared to ask. She did not like to imagine that the Indian gentleman could be an unkind master.
Wait, but it's been... Oh my gosh.
Then a worse possibility occurred to her.
Your master, is his health getting worse?
What? Oh no, it is the opposite. He is improving.
Oh, what wonderful news! Perhaps some of my wishes can still come true. Perhaps there's a little magic in the world after all.
As I understand, when his recovery is complete, the household will be moving to Paris, where Sir Carrisford is searching for a former student of his. And I will be going with them. That's why you wish to engage a French maid.
So we were able to return to France after all. I was never sure if that was what you wanted. How lucky it was that you both found each other. Hope that everything goes well for you.
How can you say such things?
What?
Why are you not in anger against me? Why don't you beg me to help you, to find you a position? Why aren't you jealous? You are starving, and I am leaving. How can you not hate me?
Because you're my friend, and I want my friends to be happy. I know you said that we are not friends, but I don't believe that's true. If it were, you wouldn't be talking to me now. When you were my maid, you would have had no choice but to help me. I understand that now. I would never have known whether or not you were my friend. But now it is different. Just like when Ermengarde gave you that poetry book. You do not have to be kind.
I
You should probably go now. You have work to do, don't you? And I need to beat the dust out of this rug. It might make you cough.
But
It's alright, I understand. You need to take care of yourself.
Sarah brandished the wicker beater before her like a sword, then swung it at the hard dangling cloth surface. A tiny cloud poofed out of the other side and fell away.
Poof!
Wordlessly, Mariette turned and walked away. The days continued to grow colder and the nights longer.
Are we gonna do this scene?
Oh, I figured we would.
Okay.
Unless you don't want to, but I don't know.
It's totally fine. Let's go.
I just figured we would go until the next Mariette screen. Or like event screen.
Okay.
There were days on which Sarah tramped through the snow when she went on her errands. There were worse days when the snow melted and combined itself with mud to form slush. On such days, the study in which the Indian gentleman sat glowed with warmth and rich color, but the little attic's mention was dismal beyond words. Becky sometimes crept into Sarah's room, which used to be hers, and the two of them would hug like warmth. If it weren't for you, miss, your stories of the deal and being prisoners together, I think I should die here. Seems too real now, don't it, miss? The missus is more like a head jailer every day she lives. I can just see them big keys you say she carries. Cooks like one of the jailers, having relations with the army man that will throw over them nobles. Tell me some more, please, miss. Tell me about the subterranean passage we dug under the wall.
I'll tell you something warmer. I'll tell you about the tropical forest where Charon the monkey from next door used to live. I've seen him sometimes looking out the window with that mournful expression. I always feel sure he is thinking about the tropical jungle where I used to swing by his tail from coconut trees. I wonder if he was captured to make a pet or if he chose to leave the trees to make family with tall people. That is what the Lascar called himself, one of Charon's tall friends. Wonder if he left a family behind who had depended on him to bring home coconuts.
Ain't coconuts them big, round, hard ones? Can a monkey eat that?
They beat them against rocks to crack them, then pull them apart with their paws. Must be hard work for such a small creature. Perhaps Charon grew tired of fetching food and leapt from the trees to land on the shoulders of a passing Lascar and become his friend so that someone else would feed him. Imagine being a monkey with your own fur coat and friends to bring your meals.
That is one, miss. In some ways, even the Bastille story, when you get to tell him about it.
That's because it makes you think of something else.
She wrapped the coverlet around herself until only a hint of her face could be seen in shadow.
What you have to do with your mind when your body is miserable is to make it think of something else.
Can you do it, miss?
Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. When I can, it's alright. I believe we always could, if we practiced enough.
Yes, if with enough practice, anyone can be delusional.
I mean, that's true. When
Including the president.
When things are horrible, just horrible, I think as hard as ever I can of being a princess. I say to myself, I am a princess, a fairy princess, and because I am a fairy, nothing in this world can truly hurt me. That's not true even of fairies in the stories? But okay.
I can believe you as a fairy easier than I can believe me.
She's a fairy type. Can we, send, like, Ekans after her? You have to practice harder, that's all. We're nothing different, you and I. Now close your eyes and think about flowers, bright and red and beautiful, nodding in the sunlight. Okay.
We just do one of each.
One of each?
All of them now.
What?
Or about even on all of them now.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 10 fires, I guess, but. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Actually, you decide this one. Heatsith is on my lap and my elbow, and it's really cute.
I'd say 2 10 fires. 2 kitchen duty. Let's just run errands.
Okay.
Because 10 fires can give fatigue and sorrow, hunger, pain, chill. A little bit of everything.
Should we redo, or do you want to keep it?
We're so close, I don't think it's necessary to keep doing that, to keep redoing. Because we have like 1 or 2 more left.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much the remaining scenes require, but anyway.
Yeah, I think we're good.
You want to save here?
Yeah. Save.
Okay.
What? No! What? How did I do that?
But it seems to be giving the same result.
How did I do that? Okay.
I don't know. Did you scroll?
I guess?
Did you save?
Yeah, I see it. Okay. Thank you for coming, Malik.
Yeah, thanks for coming back.
Have fun catching the Weedles. Thank you for offering to get me a shiny Eevee. But have fun with your shiny hunting. We'll be back this weekend, question mark, maybe?
Sunday, I think.
Well, we'll see.
Well, I have plans for Saturday, so Sunday or...
I might have something this weekend and I don't know what day it is. Which was why we'll see.
That's fine.
Either
Sunday or we'll be back on Wednesday.
Yep. But thanks for coming. Bye.
Yep, bye.